Live and direct from anywhere in the world, it's The Kelley Show with Dr. Kelley Mondesire.
Hello and welcome back to The Kelley Show. Real people with real stories in real time. And it's the month of April, and our theme this month as we plug along is who is feeding the world? Who puts the food on our tables? And today I have an amazing guest. And before I tell you who he is, think of this. We put a bunch of ingredients into a slow cooker in the morning. We close the cover, we plug it in, we press start. And 8 hours later, when we arrive home from our busy day at work or whatever we're doing, miraculously, thanks to modern technology, we've got an amazing, complete meal that we can serve ourselves and our families. Well, imagine if all your job was to do every day was to feed a fire and add water to a pot, and you couldn't do anything else with your life because you had to feed your family. What would that life look like? Well, today, my guest is doing something about that, not for thousands, but millions of people. So I'm going to introduce my very special guest, but first, a word from our sponsor.
This portion of The Kelley Show is being brought to you by White Wolf Advisory Services. We are the bridge between nations, creating growth, commerce and collaboration between cultures. Contact us today for more information.
Welcome back to The Kelley Show. And today, my very special guest is Mr. Ken Dunn. He is the creator of the Magic Cook Bags. And Ken is a very, very interesting man with a lot to say. So Ken, come on down into the studio. Welcome. Welcome to The Kelley Show, Ken.
Thank you so much. Greetings, everyone.
Hello, hello. And first question is, where are you from and where in the world are you right now?
Righty-ho. Well, I was born in a little place called Berwick-upon-Tweed, which is the most northerly town in England, right on the Scottish border. And I'm currently residing in Yorkshire, which is often referred to as God's own county.
Is that because it's so beautiful, or it's the end of, I don't know?
No, it's very, very beautiful as Yorkshire, and people with very warm hearts here. Yeah.
Okay, well, as being here on the other side of the pond, I'll have to come and see Yorkshire one of these days. Oh, it's famous for its Yorkshire pudding.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Well, speaking of food and pudding, Ken, you have the most unusual story to talk about today and share with our guests. So I'm going to go with my trusty clipboard today because these are some serious questions I have to ask you, and I don't want to do this off the cuff. So
Sure.
Forgive me, folks. Okay. You are the founder and creator of eternalflame.world, but you have created the Magic Cook Bag. And we have some photos of what this actually is that we're going to put up. Thank you, Gareth. Ken, tell me, what is the Magic Cook Bag and what inspired you to create this cook bag? And tell us all about it.
Sure thing. Well, the cook bag is an insulated a bag with 100% biodegradable materials. That's the first thing. So at end of life, it becomes compost. It doesn't become a problem to anyone on the planet. And the inspiration for this was actually visiting Lesotho, the little mountain kingdom of Lesotho in southern Africa. It's a small country surrounded by South Africa. And I witnessed there some 25 years ago the ordinary cook fires that were taking place. I visited in the global South's winter. Many of those fires were inside roundhouses called rendezvous, and the smoke was absolutely intolerable.
Mm.
I went to visit the clinic and the nurse in the clinic, and I asked her if smoke was a problem to her community. And she gave me a resounding yes, that it was killing her young, killing her old, and making her workforce infirm, poor of sight, and hard of breathing.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's the inspiration for the bag, and what we have done is we've made these bags in different places using different materials that are local to that habitat. Yeah.
So explain to me what the life of a woman whose responsibility is to feed the family was before having a cook bag, and what that life is like for this particular women right now using the cook bag. So our viewers can have a better idea of how impactful these cook bags are on the lives of so many.
That's wonderful. It's a wonderful question. Thank you. You know, the life of you and I is totally different to that of someone cooking in the rural parts of the world or in the poorer parts of the world. Just to give you some context, every third person thereabouts, 2.3 billion people, are cooking their daily meal on an open fire every
Mm.
day. Every day that involves collecting water, collecting wood, and standing by a fire to stir a pot, top that pot of water when the water boils, and feed the fire and repeat. And it is a huge cycle of drudgery. It is hard work. It is mundane work. It's the same work every day. And it is killing people. And it is actually forcing people to actually take their own lives also, such as the mundane nature of it. So the way through that is, instead of actually cooking for hours and hours on a fire, we simply heat the pot of food and bring it to the boil and then immerse it in this insulated bag. And we lock the pan inside the bag, and the heat in the food is retained within the bag. And it works fiercely well. It goes from 100 degrees to 70 degrees Celsius, and that takes 5.5 hours. The bag doesn't keep things warm, it keeps it fiercely hot. I was so close to this that I needed to step back, and I needed somebody to come and evaluate the impact objectively. So I went to my local university in Sheffield and said, guys, I need some master students to come out and ask one question to the community members. And that single open question was, how are you getting on with the cook bag? And the
Well,
response.
Ken, I want to interrupt you, my friend, just so that we can put up a graphic. We have a side by side of a woman carrying wood for a fire and a woman carrying a cook bag. Gareth, can you put that up, please?
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
There we go.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
this is a woman carrying a cook bag on her head and carrying firewood. So I would imagine, Ken, from what you're telling me, a woman would have to be carrying firewood several times a day to feed the fire continuously, as opposed to here's a cook bag. Am I right in saying that?
You are indeed, and actually, when we've had asked that question, how are you getting on with the cook bag? The ladies have come back with an extraordinary array of results, and the overwhelming thing that comes to us is that they are now released from time poverty, because the collecting of the wood could often take 4 hours. The collecting of the water could often take 4 hours. And then the cooking can take 4 hours. Now, where is the rest of your day? And when we've asked and we've averaged out the time given back by cooking with the food, with the time given back by cooking with the cook bag, it is an average of 8 hours of freed up time per day. Now that's 8 hours of non-exposure to hazard. 4 of those hours are non-exposure to the smoke, which is really dangerous. And
Mm-hmm.
that's time that the lady has got back to do something completely different. Yeah. And that's a real interesting thing, because when we've asked the ladies, what are you doing now with your time?
Mm-hmm.
We get some amazing stories back from that.
And we have another graphic here that Gareth is going to put up for us. And okay, so talk to me about who are these women and what this meal was, and is this coming out of the cook bag, the pot, and what was the meal? Do tell.
Absolutely, yeah. So what we have here is we have a mixed bean stew, and all of the ingredients are local.
Mm,
And the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. And what we've got in this picture is we've got the community coming to see what it tastes like, and it was absolutely stunning. Because the lady on my right is a celebrity chef in Lesotho, Meska Motani, and she has just recently returned from the Terra Madre, the food festival in Turin, celebrating this cuisine, and talking and advocating for the eco cook bag, yeah, our magic cook bag, because behavioral change is the biggest thing that we face. Huh? It's the biggest challenge. People resort to the norm all the time if they're in doubt. So we've got to have a compelling reason why people do something different.
mm-hmm,
And this bag has a phenomenal, compelling reason, multiple reasons for actually adopting this to cook. Because if you take the traditional way of cooking,
mm-hmm,
it's hugely consumptive in wood, water, and the cook, but it's also repetitive, taking the pan lid off, stirring, steam disappearing in the sky with the micronutrients in it, and then topping up water endlessly for hours and hours.
mm-hmm,
And so at the end of your meal has been diluted every time you have poured water in. Whereas with the Eco Cook Bag, the only water that we use is the water in the pan.
mm-hmm.
We bring it to the boil, it stays in there, all the nutrients are locked inside. That is crucial, and for our work in parts of Africa where water is a real scarcity, because we reduce the consumption of water massively by
So,
over 80%.
so let me ask you a question. There is an original fire that this is cooked on, and then once the fire goes out, this continues cooking on its own. Is that what you're saying?
So instead of 4 hours of fire for the whole cooking, we have
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes of fire for the heating, for the
Wow.
boiling, for the
Okay.
boiling, and then once it's fiercely hot, it goes in the bag. There's no longer a need for that fire, and that
Okay.
and that fire can be done with just small sticks. It doesn't require a lady going 2 hours in one direction, 2 hours in another direction with a great pile of wood. And it also decreases the amount of wood that is burnt. And our calculations are that each bag prevents 2 tons, 2 metric tons of CO2 being released into the atmosphere per year. So it's
Wow.
so environmentally, it actually prevents habitats from being destroyed. Globally, it's preventing the atmosphere warming, and locally, it's actually changing that cook's life and changing her opportunity to generate income, which I want to come to shortly. But it's also producing healthier meals and much safer meals because, again, the incidence of cooking on an open fire for 4 hours, pots fall over, they scald people, they burn
Mhm.
people. There's a whole metric around that.
Okay. And let's go to the next slide, if we will. Now, these are ladies that are using the cookbox. It looks like you have maybe interns or volunteers. What's happening here?
So that's the university group that are coming out to assess impact, and we've got a wonderful engagement, and this is very, very rich. You
Mhm.
can learn an awful lot about yourself by coming and immersing yourself in an African community for a week. You can learn a great deal about what's important in life, and it was absolutely joyous. And I offer these experiences. But let me just talk about what they had actually they had discovered, because the ladies were saying, when the pot goes into the bag, what do I do now? And we
Mm.
say, well, the time is yours. What would you like to do now? And this is the joy, because we have been designing workshops whereby the ladies and the men can come, and we can construct raised cooking beds which are water retentive, because rainfall is no longer predictable, and
Mm.
and we want to trap water in the gardens. So we have right now a series of workshops going on all over this region, um, to create these raised beds and produce food on the doorstep of the homestead. Fast growing foods with highly nutritious foods that are working, and these gardens are working fantastically well.
Well, we have another graphic. I have a question. As they're, tossing these cook bags up in the air, and I've seen some of these bags being balanced on one's head. What is the weight of a cook bag empty, and what is the average weight of a cook bag when it has food in it?
Okay, so you can balance one of these cook bags on the end of your small finger. Yeah, it's quite extraordinary.
Wow.
Insulation does not need to be heavy. The insulation that we're using in here are organic fibers which are lightweight. So we use about a kilogram of insulation. We've probably got a half a kilogram of material that surrounds that. So you can balance that, and then with the pots that go in, the bag is expandable. You can put a small 5 liter pot, an 8 liter pot, a 10 liter pot. So depending on the volume and the mass of material that you put in there, you can actually get something which is really substantial in weight, or quite lightweight.
Wow, wow. And Ken, you have been recognized by someone. Ooh, look who it is. It's the King and Ken. So
The
you
king and
have
king.
been awarded an honorary PhD, but you've also been awarded. I'll let you tell the audience, the
Yeah,
viewers,
sure. Well,
what this award is that the King of England has given you for your work. So take it away, Ken. Tell us all about these two photos.
thank you. Yeah, I mean the one on the left, I got dressed up as Henry VIII, and I got bestowed an honorary doctorate from the university, from Sheffield Hallam University in my local city, and I'm proud of that, because that's I believe I call myself a doctor of doing, a doctor of doing. And sometimes some people talk the talk and don't walk the talk. Well, I walk the talk, and I've got the gown to prove it. and and it's beautiful, because um, on the right there, I got invited to Windsor Castle to meet His Majesty the King, and I got bestowed a member of the British Empire medal, and the King is shaking my hand, and he's saying, be proud of this, because what you're doing is really powerful, and he says, I need you to shout about it, and so that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. The rest of my life I'm dedicating, to actually creating as many enterprises around the world, creating these bags ethically, socially, locally, and using local waste. Because when you create jobs, particularly when you create jobs in the global south, one person earning impacts an entire extended family. It is a very powerful dynamic. And what joy, what utter joy it is to actually go and see a lady, and you ask, how are you getting on with the cook bag? And she hugs the questionnaire, And she cries on the shoulder of this 24-year-old master student and said, "Thank you for giving me my life back."
Wow.
Go and ask the same question to a neighbor, and you say, "How are you getting on with the cook bag?" And she responds by saying, "My eyes are no longer cloudy." What value, what price do you put upon such a thing? And so the bag is so appropriate on so many different levels. We actually asked that question to one lady, and she gave us a staggering answer. She said, "I no longer get beaten." And we looked aghast, and we said, and she said, "I no longer boil dry my meals. I can't boil dry my meals, so I no longer get beaten," because that's the reality. Unfortunately, in some parts of the world, where you get gender-based violence because the meal is not ready, so this bag is actually even addressing relationships and gender-based violence. It's an extraordinary catalyst for change, and we're freeing up ladies from time that has been wasted and been they're locked in this cycle of drudgery, and it's
Well,
such a
Ken, I
privilege.
know we've talked about would you have an interest in um, doing collaborative projects with outdoor adventure companies, whether it be Orvis or I don't know other companies you have, EMS. I don't know what you have over in Great Britain, but this would be a stellar uh, piece of equipment for anyone who is an outdoor adventurer, whether a mountain climber or a camper, a hiker, whatever, any type of person that goes to where they would have to figure out how they would cook their food in exchange for perhaps they would contribute to the cause. But also, prior to this recording, I asked you, have you reached out to someone like Oprah Winfrey, who has done so much for so many, particularly on the continent of Africa? Ken, I'm going to put it out there today, and I don't normally do this, but Oprah Winfrey and your team, if you're watching this show, I think you should reach out to Mr. Ken Dunn and talk about what your influence and your impactfulness and your ability to raise funds for a project that could create such a difference in so many women's lives on the continent of Africa. And then let's just expand that conversation to wherever this type of apparatus could be used and is so direly needed. So a big shout out to Oprah Winfrey and her team, because I see this is an Oprah project. And Gail King, who's best friends with Oprah. Gail, if you're watching this or your people are tuning in today, please reach out to Ken, have a conversation, because what this man is doing is super amazing. So Ken, I have the question that we pose to all of our guests here on the Kelley Show. If you could name one person, place, thing, or experience that you are grateful or thankful for, who or what would it be? Do tell.
Well, it's my dear mother. Um,
Hmm.
oh goodness,
Oh, wow. Take your time.
crikey, that came as a shock. Oh, where did that emotion come from? Hey, if you've not got an emotion for your late mother, you're not human, eh?
Yeah.
But no, my mum is still my moral compass. She gave me the direction. Yeah, I just about got that out, eh?
Oh, Ken, that's so nice. Tell us your mother's name, because then we can say this woman was the influence behind what somebody like you is doing. Now I'm going to get upset. But what was your mother's name? Tell the world who your mother
Yeah,
was.
that's Marion. And actually, there's a little piece of Uganda, would you believe, that when we lost my mum during COVID. My extended family, I invited them to grieve with me by actually uh, buying a small patch of land on the side of the impenetrable forest in Bwindi in Uganda, and we've named it Marion's Eden, and we've actually planted the medicinal trees and shrubs that the indigenous people could no longer access because they were evicted from the rainforest,
Ah,
we've actually created a pocket forest pharmacy in her name. So that's a beautiful legacy.
God bless you, sir, and God bless your mom, because she raised a good boy who became a great man. So there you go. So, folks, viewers, if you would like to reach out to Ken, we've got his contact information up there. Wow, you clean up nicely, Ken. I made you laugh. I had to make you laugh. But anyway, Ken's organization is the Eternal Flame Eco Cook Bag. It's eternalflameworldwide.com. We have his email, his website, his LinkedIn information here. And once again, my friends, this is an amazing idea come to fruition. Ken has dedicated his life to this project. He's affecting thousands of people. Let's bring it into the millions. So Ken, I can't thank you enough today for coming on to the Kelley Show. And I want to wish you all the best. I hear from the little bird that told us before you're back off to Africa in February. We want to wish you all the best. You be careful, you take care, and we will welcome you back anytime you'd like to come back to the Kelley Show and give us updates on, did you get your funding, from who? Because we want to credit all those people who are going to support you, my friend. So we're going to say bye for now. Thank you, Ken. Safe travels. Please reach out to Ken Dunn and really share with your network what he's doing, because it's people like Ken who help others feed their families, feed the world, put food on the tables. And Ken is helping to set many tables in sub-Saharan Africa and hopefully expand out. And if you have a story you'd like to share and bring it to the Kelley Show, please reach out to us. Send us your contact information and your story and a little bit of why you'd like to share your story on the Kelley Show. And we have our subscription information here. Okay, thank you, Gareth. So subscribe today and please comment. Send your comments in. We do read the comments. Share the show with others. And as we continue on our month of Who Feeds the World and Who's Setting the Table for us, stay tuned for next week's show, because once again, I'm not going to tell you. It's a secret. You're just going to have to subscribe, tune in. And until that time, peace, love, light. May everyone in the world have something to eat and a safe place to sleep this evening. Gareth, take it away.
If you would like to be a guest on The Kelley Show, send us an email with your contact information, where in the world you are, and a brief description of the story you'd like to share today.